I work for a company called Sovereign China. We've been present in the China market since 2003. We primarily assist foreign entrants to the China market, and we do that by helping them understand opportunities, understand the market dynamics, as well as help them with their corporate structuring and back office support. Personally, I've been in China since 2005, and I've worked with well over 200 clients in terms of helping them understand and enter into the market. Well, the e-commerce ecosystem, it's different in China in a couple ways. First, if you just look at the ecosystem, the consumer has a search. You can say they search for the product that they're looking to buy, then they pay for the product, then you have fulfillments, then you have delivery. Around all of this is basically the operations and the back office support from the company side that the consumer doesn't see. The key difference really in China is this search area. So where normally in North America or Canada you would use Google and say, I want to search for products. And then the brand website would come up. Usually you can purchase it. That's a typical model in North America. Now you do have Amazon and some marketplaces that you can use, but it's not nearly as big as say the marketplaces in China. So in China, marketplaces dominate. They have about 80% of the market or more of the transaction volume has gone through marketplaces. Alibaba, I believe, is about 65% now, which has dropped a little bit, but it's still a massive amount of the transaction volume runs through Alibaba and other marketplaces. So why did that even happen in the first place? Well, number one, you have hundreds, if not thousands of these micro businesses, and it's very expensive for every individual business or brand to develop their own website. So what they did is they came together and they utilized these marketplaces to basically piggyback off this aggregate traffic. So they don't individually have to go to Baidu or Google to generate traffic. It's already generated by this platform. So Chinese consumers are very used to going to these platforms, searching for a product they want to buy. The platform or the marketplace indexes the products or the stores, and then the person can purchase it, the consumer can purchase the products. So how is it really different in this aspect? One is you don't have many individual brand websites like you do in the West. Instead, you have these marketplaces. The payment is, again, very similar to that in the West. It's not much different, except instead of, say, PayPal, you would use Alipay. Fulfillments and delivery, again, relatively the same, except in delivery in North America, where you typically wait 3 to 5 days, or you pay for express shipment to get it in 2 days. In China, most of the delivery happens within 1 to 2 days, and if you're really lucky, even same day, which is very different than how it is in most developed markets. In terms of the back office or the operational side, again, you're mostly interacting with these marketplace platforms. And because of that, there's a lot more specialization required. How the platforms index is going to be different than, say, how Google indexes. And how you can best, I would say, get free traffic flow or the most efficient traffic flow is going to be different. And usually you'll want to have some kind of expertise in this because you are competing with hundreds of other vendors at times. Perhaps you're competing with other, let's say, storefronts on Tmall that carry your own product. So you have to actually strategize and develop a way to bring traffic to your store rather than to your competitor's store on the market, because it is highly competitive. There are a couple of different ways they can approach it. But before that, it's probably good to say the best way not to approach it is just to use your Canadian website and hope that Chinese consumers find you. Typically, there are two ways to approach it. Number one is via domestic channels, which is having either a presence in China so that you can set up on one of the local marketplaces, such as Tmall, using a partner in China to set up on these platforms for you, such as a distributor or Tmall partner that manages your store for you on these platforms. Or you can approach it via cross-border e-commerce, which is basically setting up on one of the marketplaces such as Tmall Global that will allow you to access Chinese consumers through that avenue. Potentially there are quite a few, but there are 3 key challenges that most need to address when approaching the China market. The first of these is traffic generation. How are you generating traffic? Whether or not you're on a website, your own brand website, or on one of these marketplace platforms, generating the traffic is the only way you're going to be successful. So how do you do that? Well, typically you would need to work with a very strong partner or have the internal expertise to work with the indexing of either the marketplace or the search engine that you're utilizing. It can be very complicated. There can be a lot of data points. And if you don't understand these particular points or how the website indexes, you're not really going to be effective in generating traffic to your particular page. The second one would be conversion rates. So how do you actually convert somebody who's browsing into a sale? This is typically a challenge in China for a few reasons. One, I would say unlike North America, where people kind of already have an idea of what they want to buy, they go to a site and they buy it. In China, they have a lot of options. They're going to have a lot of questions. So it's usually a good idea. What we see is to have customer service representatives who can speak Chinese or type Chinese that are there via live chat that can actually address any questions that potential consumers have, because that's one way to really increase the conversion rate. And the third one, and probably the most difficult really for Canadian companies, would be the logistics. How do you get your product from Canada to China in the most efficient manner? And you can do a lot of different things. You can set up a warehouse in China yourself, or you can work with a 3PL within China, so a logistics provider that will rent you the warehouse space. Ideally, what you're looking at is for a company that is set up in one of China's free trade zones so that you can ship products in bulk to that free trade zone, which is outside the customs border within China. And then as consumers purchase individual items, that 3PL or third-party logistics provider who's fulfilling the order can then send individual parcels that bypass a lot of the restrictions and customs. But understanding the best way to approach the logistics will really help in terms of delivering it in a timely manner in which Chinese are accustomed to, minimize duties and taxes, and also help with returns. One of the key pieces of advice is be committed. Just because it's e-commerce and it's relatively simple compared to setting up a brick and mortar retail chain doesn't mean you can just be lackadaisical about it. You really do need to be committed. You need to understand the market, the dynamics, the ecosystem, and especially the potential partners you're going to use. Because again, China, because it is slightly different, because the back operations are somewhat different in terms of the best ways to generate traffic, the best way to do conversions, you really need to look at whether or not your company has the internal capabilities to be effective, or if it's better to use specialized partners in China to assist you. So, and in that sense, you can certainly turn to the Canadian embassy to help you with that, or look through other partners to assist.